That's a shit show. Guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I look hideous, but there's a reason behind it. I want to show you the do's and don'ts of makeup. Originally, it's supposed to be an anti-aging tutorial, but honestly, those tips go a long way, not just for aging skin. I think they're good tips for anyone who just starts their journey with the makeup. And really, this is to show you that less is more, and you can achieve beautiful results with your makeup. You just have to know how to apply it, what point of your face to apply certain products on, what to do and not to do with your eye makeup, your lip makeup. So if you're ready, let's move into the tutorial portion, and I see you in a bit with none of this crap on my face, and so we can get started and I can show you what I know, and you make a decision whether or not to take some of my advice. So the original plan was to film the anti-aging type of makeup, just to create a lifting effect and show you how to use certain products to actually achieve that by using those. But it quickly turned into a do's and don'ts, and all of us had that time where we felt like we love this product so much, so let me apply as much as I can on my face. And then it turned out it looked cakey, it looked uneven, it started creasing. So today's makeup, it's really few rules of do's and don'ts, and I think it can help anyone. Doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're in your 40s or 30s or 20s. I think if you actually learn those techniques now, it will be beneficial in the future and throughout the whole time that you're trying to apply any type of makeup. So as you can tell, I have the foundation on. So number one is hydrating your skin around the eye area. That doesn't change, you know. And I'm gonna make sure that you see how ridiculous one of the side is, and I'm just like hating the idea of looking so ugly, but I need to show it to you so you know what not to do with your makeup. Okay, so right now I just have the foundation and all. We're gonna start with the eyes. I'm gonna use the same palette for both sides. I'm just probably gonna use a little bit different colors. So I just take, this is what I normally would start with. I would start with the dark color, and I would just put it in a crease. Nothing changes here. And then I would take the brightest, the shiniest, the most shimmery eyeshadow, and I would put it right here underneath the eyebrow bone, actually on a bone. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but I would right away, I would try to just put as much shine on my eyeshadow, on my eyelids. So then I would take a black, darkest black eyeliner that I find, and I'm using NYX. I still use it here and there, just different, you know. So normally what I would do is I would close my eye, and I would distribute this liner on the upper and lower lid on the waterline throughout the entire eye. And this is what I would end it up with. So what it does to your skin, to your eye area, is actually dragging the entire makeup down. So then on the top of that, since I had to have the dark black liner on the bottom, what I would do is I would actually take the liner and I would do even more damage. I would try to draw the wing without taking under consideration the fact that my eyes are hooded. So I would just do anything for that wing, to have that wing here. So I would just follow the tutorials and what I've learned from other YouTubers or from just being in the makeup industry. And so I would just create that wing, which doesn't really look much like a wing, but for me it was perfect. The darker the better. And I would be just like, wow, that's looking really good. I have like just the perfect eye makeup. On the top of that, I would take my, moving to eyebrows, I'm gonna do everything together. So moving to eyebrows, I would take my brush and my brow, not gel, this is kind of just like mousse, I would say. I would use the mirror to make sure that I actually overdraw this area, and I would just bring that line all the way down. Like honestly, like the longer the better. And as I'm applying it, I kind of realized how grotesque and how ridiculous this was. I would always also make sure that this arch here is almost rectangular in shape, so right off the bat you can tell it doesn't look natural. So as you can see, I enhance my eyebrows with a darker color, make it bulky, white, and honestly really unattractive. But I thought this was the shit back then, so this is exactly what I was doing. That's how I was following the everybody in the industry, you know, anyone who was doing makeup. So let's move into what I do now and how I do my makeup. And don't get me wrong, I still like to throw the wing in there once in a while, but I try to stay away from very harsh colors. I stay away from shimmers. I do use them sometimes, don't get me wrong, but it has to be the right combination. So I try to stay away from very shimmery and shiny eyeshadows over my entire lid, and I also stay away from very harsh colors. Like, just when I do black smoky eye, you have to do it. You have to use harsh black and gray and charcoal colors. But for most parts, if this is my everyday makeup, I try to go light. So I'm going to use the same exact colors. The only difference is this time I'm going to apply it a little bit differently. So I go with the same exact color, and I start at exact same space, and I'm just concentrating on the outer corner and the crease. Like this. So you still see a lot of color, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like I'm trying not to put color in or the product. You definitely see where I'm applying it, but I do go a little bit above the brow, the brown bone, not the brown bone, the crease. I go a little bit over, and I actually take a little bit more time blending this all together. Okay, so now I go to, instead of the shimmer that I picked, which was this one last time, okay, now I'm going with the lightest color, but it's actually off-white matte color, but it's very soft. This formula is very soft and very nice. So this is what I do. I go into the inner corner and I apply this light color right there. And what it takes care of is like make this area around my nose lighter, and also the inner corner lighter. This time, instead of the just really harsh dark liner, I'm gonna take the same brand's light brown liner, and what I do is I'm actually trying to create a little wing, okay, like this, but it's very light, and then I'm just putting the color on the top right here, like this. And then I'm taking a small brush and I'm gonna smoke it all out. So you still have a little bit of a wing, and the reason I'm trying, oh my god, I'm just dropping stuff. So the reason you want to do it, maybe you can see it, I'm still creating the wing, but I want a smoke out version. So I want that color to lift my outer corner up, but without really doing it in an obnoxious way with a dark color. So you can see it's darker here now. I'm also going to take a little bit of the dark color that I used at the beginning and just swipe it right here. Let's put mascara on the second eye. This time I do my brows differently. Of course I brush it, but this time I'm using an NYX double liner. So I have the brow color and I have the arch light color. So this is where I start. I start with creating the shape. Okay, so I bring that color right here, and right now it looks a little bit harsh, but this is how I'm gonna leave it until I'm done with the brow makeup. So this time I'm using lighter color and I'm trying to gently fill out the brow space right here, and I'm trying to keep it right here, the end of my brow. This is as far as I go. I try to keep it right here so it doesn't drag my eyebrow down. And yes, I want to give it a little bit of a shape, but this is as far as I'm going. So if there are some imperfections or the pigment is missing here and there, this is exactly the plan, because this way your eyebrows stay looking nice and realistic. Okay, so I just want to keep that most natural shape that I can. Let's do the concealer. I specifically wanted to leave the concealer for later on because I want to show you what I did. So on this side, my foundation went underneath my eye, on the top of the lid, and then on the top of that I'm going to put the concealer. That's how I used to do my makeup, and this is a big don't because it creates another layer of the product that you have to blend in, and it's just asking for trouble. It's like saying, come here and cake up on me, you know. That's what you don't want. So on this side I do put the foundation, but I end my foundation right here. And on the lid I only put a little bit of a concealer to just give the base to my eye look. But this is what I used to do. I used to use a ridiculous amount of concealer. This is what I would do. Create this triangle here, and then I would put some here and some here, and honestly pretty much everywhere, right here. So I would just then go in, and most of the time I would use the concealer that's actually really lighter than what I'm supposed to be using. And for the sake of this makeup, I kind of went with the concealer that's lighter but not too light. This is actually something I'm going to use on the other side as well, because it's something that I really enjoy. It's an NYX Born to Glow concealer, and I really think it's a nice, lifting, radiant, luminous product. But this is what I would do before. So I would start looking like a ghost, honestly, with the amount of the product that I had underneath. And I never really baked because it just doesn't work for me, but I would still probably put way too much powder underneath. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And I'm using Revolution blotting powder in translucent white. So I would put quite a bit of this product right here, like this. And then we're gonna swipe a little bit off, but still this area will be definitely lighter. Okay, so let me just blend that in because I don't want it to look too ridiculous. Okay, so what I do differently now is, first of all, I use quarter of the amount that I have on this side, okay? And so what I would do is, I want to definitely put a little bit in a corner, like this. So I'm gonna blend it in. And then another thing that I want to do, I want to create this lifting effect for my eye. So I want to put a little bit of a concealer right here. And so it's not that ridiculous triangle anymore where half of my face has concealer on. It's just those two spots, and we're gonna blend it in the way that it's actually going to cover that whole area, just with way less product than what I used to do. So now we're just playing with the sponge, and we're just blending it in, giving light. Okay. And as you can see, so little, and it can take you so far. It actually takes care of everything that you want to cover, everything that you want to conceal with such a small amount. And I don't know if you can tell, but this eye goes just like this, whoops. And this one is dragging down because of the eyebrows, because of the color here. So I hope that by now you kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying not to do when applying makeup. Okay. So again, I will take a little bit of the same powder, but it's going to be just quicked up, and that's it. And I'm just going to blend it in a little bit. It looks like I'm playing with it, I'm putting more and more makeup, but in fact I'm barely touching my face as I'm blending this powder. And the reason for blending and playing with it a little bit and taking your time with this blending is to show you how soft your makeup and your face is going to look like once you start applying other product. And another thing is, as you start applying bronzer and other product, you're gonna see right away how beneficial it is to actually apply powder before that, because the bronzer, the highlighter, the blush will blend so beautifully when you actually do it this way. Okay, so let me move into our favorite part with all the highlighters, bronzers, and blushes and all that crazy cool products that I have to show you. So for the bronzer, I'm using Shapeshifter by Urban Decay. So this is what I would do in the past. I would start somewhere here and I would draw the line. Then I would make sure that I put bronzer in the temple of my face, and then I would just keep blending it. It's a beautiful color, don't get me wrong, and I love this bronzer, but it's way too much product for a lifting and nice looking product. Okay, this is what I would look like. So this is what I do differently. Go with the same exact product, top of the excess, and since I'm at certain age where I am craving this lifting effect, I go right here where my cheekbone ends, and this is where I apply my bronzer. See the difference? I do put a tiny bit on my forehead closer to the hairline, like this. And in this case, less is truly more. So now, let me take the mirror. So now with a little bit of this bronzer, I'm trying to blend it upwards so the product doesn't go past this high point of the cheek here. It doesn't go down. It has to stay here. The idea behind it is that whatever you're now putting on your face, whatever product you're going to put on your face, you want to make sure that this triangle, if you draw the triangle like this, you want to make sure that this line, that no product passes towards your nose when you draw this line like here, like this. I hope I'm explaining it the right way. But anyway, so yeah, so this is your triangle right here, okay? And so you want to make sure that there's no, that here, from this point on, that there's no product. So you concentrate the bronzer and everything right here. And again, you put a little bit of a on the forehead just to make your forehead smaller or whatever. I always put a little bit here. I always put a little bit on my nose. But mostly you just really want to work it upwards and you don't want to put too much of a product. Honestly, this is it. This is how much you need, okay? And it still looks beautiful and exactly what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so moving on to the blush. So normally I would take the blush, and I'm going to use the same exact product. I'm using Summer by NYX, and the reason I love it so much is because it's kind of like a pink and peachy. It actually is more orangey than what you see on the screen right now. It's due to lighting that I have. It's actually a beautiful, beautiful color. And a color like that, like a peachy kind of fuzzy color, this is this youthful appearance that everybody's trying to achieve. This is the color that you want to have. You don't want to go with mauves and wines and something darker. You don't want to go with browns, with yellowish, orangey colors. Something like this is a perfect in-between where you actually can achieve that youthful appearance. It's just a little bit of a peach, orange, and pink together. Okay, so normally I would just put some on my brush, I would smile, and I would put it right here on the apple of my cheek, right? Because that's where I thought we were putting the blush. And then it's obviously a little bit too much, but I would just blend it a little bit but it would be pretty much over my entire face. Okay, so now let's take the tissue, clean it off a little bit, and let's go with the option number 2. Still put some product on, tap the excess off, and as the bronzer ends right here, this is exactly where I put my blush. So I'm putting it on the top of the cheekbone right here, okay, and I'm putting just very little product. So last but not least, something that's a favorite of mine. When I see a highlighter, I have to have it. So for today's tutorial, I'm gonna use a very intense highlighter. It's Know You Better by ellesy. So this is what I would normally do, not normally, but earlier on in my makeup career. And honestly, I hate this side because I look like a freaking clown. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit because I want to show you what not to do, but I look so horrendous. So I would just go in, put as much as I possibly could, because I just want that the highlighting effect. And my blush has a little bit of a highlighter in it already, but what I would do is I would start here and I would just do this. Honestly, I would put this much, then I would go and I would put some more on the temple here. Okay, so this whole area will be shiny like a mother. And then on the top of that, I would go over my highlighted previously eyebrow bone and I would put some more. Then I would put some on the top of my nose, just like everybody does. And I honestly hate it. Like, I just feel like, what the fuck do you need this button nose for? But okay, let's just pretend that this is the only thing that stays on and it's good. So this is what I would do it. So this is how I would apply the highlighter on. So as you can see, this side is just horrendous. It's horrible. It's blotchy. It's patchy. It's disgusting, right? So same highlighter. I would take a little bit of a product on, tap the excess off, and so you have the bronzer, you have the blush, and now you have a highlighter. And make sure the highlighter doesn't go directly underneath your eye, because you want to avoid that. It brings too much attention to lines and wrinkles, and if this product sits in there, it's going to enhance all the flaws even more. So you just put highlighter right here and a little bit here, and this is it. So we are almost done, but last but not least, this is what my lip makeup used to look like. So I went heavy on eyes, heavy on the bronzer, blush and all that, and on the top of that I would go very heavily on the lip makeup, and I would obviously overdraw it. Ooh, that already looks beastie. But on the top of that I would put dark lipstick, and so my eye makeup would be extremely intense and my face makeup would be extremely intense and visible, and on the top of that I went really heavy on the lips. So what I do differently now is, whether or not I have very dramatic eyes, as I age, so this is an anti-aging and just a good tip overall, typically, maybe we don't realize, but typically we look better with beiges, with nudes, with browns, dusty roses. These days, most of the time, I go with light lipsticks. So I go with a very nudie brown type of liner, and I still overline just a tiny bit, but not like what I did on this side. See? Okay, so my job here is done. So I hope this was informative. I hope this helps you to make a decision on how to apply makeup in order to look better. I hope that I show you a few tricks on how to apply specific products to lift up your face a little bit, lift up the skin, and give this youthful appearance. So this is what my nudie side looks like. Okay, and this is what my exaggerated dark side of makeup looks like. Don't get me wrong, there's still time to wear red lipstick or very dark liner. I just feel that this combination of the wing liner on the top and very intensified bright black line on the bottom doesn't do much for your eyes. I think it's actually dragging the makeup down, including this application here. It's just a freaking fiasco. So yeah, so this is it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment behind, give me a like button, press the like button if you actually enjoyed this video, and if you need more videos like that, I will be happy to do them for you. And yeah, that's it. I hope to see you in my next video.